Yo, what is going on YouTube? This is your boy Dan, aka aDrive. I bring you guys the New York Metapods team preparation for week 2 of the NPA, taking on the Adelaide Umbreons and Cresselia. Both of us were able to win our week 1 matchups, and I was very excited about our W over the APOMs, and I'm hoping to continue to harden our way to victory and hopefully pick up yet another win in the NPA, as that is our goal. So here we go. We're gonna jump right into this. Let's talk a little bit about the two teams here, kind of what we're gonna be thinking, what our plan is and stuff like that. And hopefully, guys, if you missed the matchup, go check out last week's match. It was a really good match, I think, and hopefully you guys are digging this video. I made this screen a little bit bigger up here. I'm gonna put the team preview on the layout as well, and I'll kind of try to update the graphics as I go. So feel free to leave me comments in terms of tips on ways to make these pregame press conferences better, and definitely show your love on that like button down below if you're enjoying and you're hyped for the match. So let's take a look at the two teams here. So first things first, we got we know our team, but we got a Scizor, a Salamence, Crocodile, Ambipom, Granbull, Rotom Spin or Rotom Fan, Mega Gardevoir, Reuniclus, Torkoal, Politoed, and Ludicolo is the team that Cress could potentially bring. Last week, she put in a lot of work with Scizor. She's got that Fairy Dragon Steel Core with Scizor, Salamence, and Mega Gardevoir. Mega Gardevoir is, of course, a huge threat to any team. The thing is just a monstrous wall breaker because of its Pixelate ability, firing off Hyper Voices. Very good Pokemon. Salamence obviously could be a setup sweeper. It could be mixed attacker. It could be special physical attacker. It could be special. It could be a defensive support set. Crocodile could do a lot of different things as well, including Intimidate, Stealth Rocks. It could be, offensive Moxie Sweeper, things like that. Scizor is very dimensional as well. It could be, offensive, like Choice Bandage, Choice Scarf, could be bulky, a lot of different things there. Ambipom's pretty one-dimensional, though it can be a special attacker as well, which is kind of weird. Granbull, mostly, usually physically defensive, could be physically offensive as well. Does have a really good attack stat. Rotom Spin, pretty standard stuff. Mega Gardevoir obviously could be a substitute set. It could just be the standard wall breaker, which is what I'm expecting. Reuniclus, very good Pokemon. Could be a Trick Room setter, which I don't expect, but it could be a Calm Mind Pokemon as well. Set up Calm Minds, Recover, Shadow Ball, Psyshock, or Psychic. Torkoal, Rapid Spinner, general shenanigans. Doesn't really like special attacks though. Politoed obviously can set up Rain and could be an issue this match, so we're gonna have to keep an eye out for Politoed. And Ludicolo, of course, the last Pokemon on our team, which does benefit from the raid, so a little bit of a rain action going on there. So a couple different threats. I actually expect the Mega Gardevoir to come 1,000,000%. Crocodile 1,000,000%. Know those two are coming. Salamence, I'm really expecting the Salamence. I think Reuniclus is a very good possibility. I think Scizor is a good possibility, but maybe I think the Politoed is a good possibility, and then there's some other Pokemon, maybe Granbull, maybe Torkoal, something like that. But I'm definitely expecting the Gardevoir, the Salamence, the Crocodile, those three feeling 100% on. I think because how well Scizor did last week for Cress, she's going to want to bring Scizor again. So I think Scizor too. So I prepared for everything, obviously. A little bit worried about the Politoed, to be perfectly honest, but I think we've got the right team here to pick up a W. So let's talk a little bit about the team that we're going to be bringing here for week 2 of the NPA. I'm really excited about this team, and I think we've got a really unique team here. And one of the things I'm most excited about is you'll see that I made a lot of changes this week in terms of what Pokemon I'm bringing, as opposed to what I brought last week. And I think that just speaks to the diversity of this team, the depth of this team, the fact that we were able to draft a team that has a lot of different options, a lot of different Pokemon that I could bring that could be effective in the match. And I'm really excited to bring this team, and I'm really excited for this match because I think it's going to be a really good match. She drafted a really good team. So we're going to be kicking things off here with Mirror our Mega Sableye again. Now, I understand Mega Sableye typically isn't that great when you think of the fact that she's got Granbull, she's got a Mega Gardevoir. Both of those Pokemon absolutely rip Sableye to pieces, but Sableye does a couple things. One, it acts as a great utility Pokemon. Physically defensive, max HP, max defense with Will-O-Wisp. I've got Shadow Sneak on there to hit the Gardevoir for like 30%. I've got Knockoff on there for just general utility. This thing comes in on things like Crocodile does really well against Reuniclus. So there's a lot of Pokemon that Sableye does do well against, despite the fact that obviously I have to watch out for Fairy type moves from the Gardevoir, from the Granbull. It also kind of deters entry hazards. I do expect Crest to expect me to lead with Sableye, so I don't plan on leading with Sableye this week. Things could change when I see the team preview, but I plan on saving Sableye. Hopefully she does not get rocks up. Rocks are always an issue, but I'm going to make that plan. I think she's going to lead with Gardevoir, predicting the Sableye lead. I just lead with Sableye a lot in the history of my competitive career or whatever, and I don't want to be caught facing Mega Gardevoir right on the first turn with Sableye out there. There's better Pokemon that I could bring out. So That's my Sableye. I decided not to go with the Calm Mindset just because there was too many big threats that could switch into me. But I think otherwise it's just a pretty standard Sableye. Just support Sableye. Nothing too crazy. So our second Pokemon that we're going to be bringing today is going to be our Rolex here. Our nice and shiny Steelix, which is going to be making its debut for the New York Metapods. Now, Steelix is running a lot of HP investment, a little bit of attack, a little bit of special defense. You can see I got the Chople Berry on there, which I'll explain here in a moment. Stealth Rocks, Heavy Slam, Ice Fang, Fire Fang. I'm actually still debating, before this match starts here, I'm actually still debating about potentially swapping out Fire Fang for EQ, but I really like the ability to 2-hit KO most Scissor forms. Earthquake is better against the rest of the team, but I'm kind of feeling that as a potential. Otherwise, we kind of get walled by a couple things, so I might want to switch that out, but I think I'm going to stick with Fire Fang. My gut says Fire Fang, so, you know, this thing can take hits from a lot of things, and the thing I really like about this Steelix is that Chople Berry is going to make a Focus Blast from either that Reuniclus or from that Gardevoir do nothing. Well, it does something, but it's going to do a lot less than it otherwise would. My hope here is that Cress is going to get some false security in the fact that Focus Blast will OHKO my Steelix. However, I can just take that with a Chople Berry. I could fire up a Heavy Slam and absolutely destroy it. Whether it's going to work or not, I don't know, but I'm foreseeing the future here and hoping that Mr. Rolex here, Mr. Steelix, can put in the work and you know, hit a nice little Heavy Slam there. I've got the Ice Fang for the Ments, Fire Fang otherwise, and the Chople Berry could help against, you know, Brick Break or whatever, but it's really dedicated for that that big Focus Blast on the Gardevoir, because I can take the Hyper Voices, I can take the Psyshocks, it's just that Focus Blast. So I'm hoping that Rolex can pick up that kill, and that would be a huge W for me. Our next Pokemon we're going to be bringing is our Vesuvius again, same exact one from last week. Bring that Choice Bandit Adamant with the E-Speed, Sacred Fire, Stone Edge, Flare Blitz. In all honesty, Entei does not match up very well against Cress's team. I can totally acknowledge that, but it does give me a really great response to Scissor. It gives me a really decent response. Like, Salamence can't switch in, Crocodile can't switch in. Like, most things on our team can't switch into it, except for maybe Politoed. But the real thing about Vesuvius that makes him so good is that extreme speed, which could come in handy mid to late game to potentially clean up a Pokemon like that Gardevoir, clean up something like that. It gives me that priority, hitting really hard with the Choice Band, and I just felt Entei is such a good wall breaker, and it's so good because that 50% burn chance with Sacred Fire. I can 2-hit KO a max defense Grand Bull with this thing if I get the burn, like after rocks. It's nuts. This thing just hits so hard, and I felt like I had to bring it as like a big wall breaker. And I think that even though, again, with the rain up, it's going to be very like not so effective if she does bring the rain, but I'm hoping she'll be a little bit discouraged to bring Politoed, Ludicolo, just because I have a Moongus, I have Alomomola. You know, I have these Pokemon that really don't like make Politoed very, you know, not so useful. I have Thundurus, things like that. So I'm hoping that the diversity of my team discourages the use of Politoed to counter Entei. Because actually, like I said, Politoed is slightly scary. So anyway, let's move to the next Pokemon here. Pretty standard stuff. We've got Mr. Flash Drive making its debut for the New York Metapods, of course, our beautiful Thundurus, and I have a feeling that this thing is going to be absolutely phenomenal. I'm running just enough speed to outspeed, of course, her base 100s, which means I'm going to outspeed that Salamence, and I'm going to outspeed that Gardevoir no matter what, unless the Salamence is Scarfed. I will 100% of the time outspeed them, otherwise, unless it sets up a DD or something like that. We've got Thunderbolt there. We've got Volt Switch and Sludge Wave. Sludge Wave does OHKO the Gardevoir. Thunderbolt can potentially OHKO the Scissor depending on the spread. Really great response to Scissor, of course. Hidden Power Ice is there for the Salamence after Rocks. Going to do a tremendous amount, probably OHKO. We've got the Life Orb there just for extra damage. And look at that special attack stat, dude. 196. This thing is a monster. Base 145 special attack. This thing goes in, and this is one of the big monsters on this team. That Volt Switch is going to be huge. Her only switching is that Crocodile. Crocodile does not want to take an HP Ice, so I could probably predict that. Or I could play it safe. Either way, it's not a big deal. I have some Crocodile responses, so I'm not too concerned. And if it ends up being Scarf Crook and outspeeding me, again, I'll know it's Scarfed. I'll be able to kind of play around it. I'll play safe to kind of scout out. I'll find out whether it's Intimidate or Moxie probably early in the game, as I'd imagine. Crook might be her lead. It's one of her few Stealth Rock setters. Last week, she brought it Scarfed with Rocks, I believe, so I want to keep an eye out for that. As Rocks do hurt my team. You can already see 2 Pokemon weak to Stealth Rocks. Spoilers, there's going to be a 3rd Pokemon weak to Stealth Rocks. So definitely something I have to kind of be aware of, be conscious of, and make sure I try to keep those rocks off the field as best as I can. You know what I mean? Sableye can do that for me. I know what her Stealth Rock setters are going to be, but I don't think I'm going to be able to Mega Evolve on that first turn because I do think that Gardevoir will be the lead. I could be wrong. I'm just making predictions here. So we'll see kind of what happens when the team preview shows up. But either way, I really like Flash Drive. Almost put Incinerate on this thing. If you don't know, this thing actually learns the TM Incinerate, which is a 60 base power fire move that burns up any berries the Pokemon's holding. Almost ran that, but I decided to put Thunderbolt on there instead, just so I don't have to switch out just to fire off an attack with Volt Switch. My strongest attack is Thunderbolt. I should be able to stay in with it. Incinerate's good, but Thunderbolt should do a good amount to Scissor, and really, Scissor can't do much back to me. Now, I know he can knock off. I know he could potentially, I think he gets Rock Slide maybe or something, but Scissor really can't do much back to me. Otherwise, standard Scissor doesn't touch Thundurus. It's a great response because I'm resisting the Bullet Punch and I resist the U-turn. So, a couple different options there. The next Pokemon, of course, you guys knew it was coming at some point. Free Crest, baby. Hashtag free Crest. All these leagues that want to ban Cresselia, I'm going to show you guys why you shouldn't. Or I'm going to probably show you guys why you should. That's my plan. This thing is a monster, dude. This thing is a monster. I'm like looking through my team. I'm like, what can I counter, you know, things like Gardevoir with? And I'm like, oh wait, Cresselia just takes any hit because it's a monster. Does worry a little bit about that Crocodile. Those knockoffs could be pretty scary, but we do have, we've got Moonblast on there. We've got the HP Fire to hit that Scissor, super effective. Calm Mind and Moonlight. Was gonna run Substitute over Moonlight. A little bit worried about the Rain from Politoed, which does drop the recovery down to 25%. But I figured that that Moonlight could be more useful because getting that 50% health back with the leftovers, that could be really, really awesome. Obviously, the Calm Mind, I have a lot of things that I could potentially set up on. I could set up on the Granbull. I could set up potentially even on the Gardevoir. I could set up on things like Mence potentially. It really depends on the spreads, but I'm max defense, max HP. This thing is a monster. It really, really is. I think this Cresselia could put in so much work. And if I get a Calm Mind up or two, like 1 or 2 Calm Minds, she's gonna have very few answers for this thing because Moonblast is gonna put in some work. Obviously, I've got the HP Fire there again for the Scissor. I am fully physically defensive, so we should be able to take some hits and hopefully pick up some KOs with this thing. And this thing is just a great Pokemon. It's just a great pivot. It can take a lot of hits, and I really think Crest can put in some work. It's just so bulky, dude. It's just so bulky. And to round out our lineup this week, picking up the final kill last week, of course, is our Scolipede, the homie Crimson here. Pretty similar to last week. We're actually bringing the Poison Jab, Mega Horn, Protect again for that speed boost, Rock Slide, just enough speed to outspeed max speed Crocodile. So after a speed boost, we will outspeed the Choice Scarf variant of Crocodile, of course. And we've got a max attack stat with Adamant. After a speed or after one Protect, we're gonna outspeed everything on the team. Rock Slide's there for things like Scissor and for Salamence, just for chip damage. Mega Horn, Poison Jab wrecks everything. I think even depending on the spread for Crook, even after an Intimidate from Crook, I'm pretty sure Mega Horn still OHKOs it. Very impressive there. OHKOs the Reuniclus, so if Reuniclus starts setting up on us, not a big deal. I could switch this thing in OHKO, even if it's max HP, max defense. OHKOs the Ludicolo, puts in so much work against the Torkoal. OHKOs the Gardevoir. Probably puts a huge dent in the Granbull. This thing is a monster. It's just so fast, and I think it's gonna put in the work. I think it's gonna do some good stuff. So basically, strategy. I gotta get those rocks up early. That'll really help me kind of wear down the team, especially things like the Mence. But the real priority is keeping the rocks off the field and trying to maintain the type advantages here. Obviously, Sableye Mega evolving early in the game is crucial. I'm gonna have to try to find that opportunity to do so, not in front of Mega Gardevoir, because that could be problematic. But that's really the game plan. I think if we play around, you know, the big threats like Mega Gardevoir, I got a few switch-ins for that. I could play aggressively. I could bring an Entei if rocks aren't up, take a Hyper Voice, and then just fire off a Sacred Fire and Extreme Speed, and that's not going to like it. I mean, we have some options there, so, and hopefully Thundurus can pick up some kills, giving us some momentum with the Volt Switch. I got to keep those rocks off the field, though. It's very, very important for us. So that's going to be really our keys to victory here, and hopefully we're able to pick up our second win. Definitely not going to underestimate my opponent. She did pick up a win last week, so we're going to play smart, we're going to play safe, we're going to play aggressive as we normally do, and that's going to be it for me, guys. I hope you guys are super duper hyped. Don't forget, you can get your New York Metapod shirts in the description below. I did have the little pre-roll, of course, before the video, but check out the New York Metapod shirts, guys. They're gonna look awesome, so definitely check them out. They're only available for another couple days. They're only available till the 20th of this month, so make sure you grab one if you can and support your New York Metapods. And that is gonna be it for me, guys. My name is Dan. I'm the coach of your New York Metapods, and I'm gonna catch you guys later. Peace.